Hello, I'm Susan Woods of Susan Woods Nonprofit Solutions. Thank you for your time. I'm continuing with the Starting Nonprofit series. Today's video is step number 13 of 20 steps to starting a 501c3 nonprofit, and that step is apply for EIN. Again, step number 13 of 20 steps is apply for EIN. So, step 13, apply for EIN. Nonprofit professionals must apply for an employer identification number in order to establish a 501c3 nonprofit organization. The EIN is a unique number that identifies a 501c3 nonprofit organization. No other 501c3 nonprofit organization will have your EIN. Potential investors and just people who are interested in your nonprofit organization can use the EIN to determine the status of the organization by completing a tax-exempt organization search on www.irs.gov. The IRS makes it very, very easy for us to determine the status of 501c3 nonprofit organizations. So if someone tells you that they have a 501c3 nonprofit organization and want you to invest in it, I will ask them for their EIN. And in that way, you can do your own due diligence to determine whether or not their nonprofit organization meets the requirements for your investments. Because some people can have a 501c3, but when you investigate using the EIN, you may learn that their status is revoked. So it's always good to check before you invest. So I'm going to demonstrate the steps to applying for an EIN using the easiest method that I think is by doing it online. Now you can apply for an EIN online at irs.gov, or you can call the IRS and they can go through the steps to acquiring an EIN for you while you wait on the phone. You can mail in an SS4 application. That's S as in Sam, S as in Sam, the number 4 application, and you can get that on irs.gov and download it and complete it and mail it in, or you can fax in the same form. But like I said, I prefer to use the online method to applying for an EIN, and that's what I'm going to demonstrate right now. So I'm going to ask you to please allow me to pause my screen just briefly so that I can pull up the information that I need to use in order to apply for the EIN. So thank you for your patience. I think it's important for us to, or for me rather, to walk through the steps when I demonstrate the acquiring or applying for the EIN so that you can follow along or at least be familiar with the steps when it's time for you to apply for your EIN. So I am on the IRS screen that I'm going to use to start the application process. And it's called Apply for an Employer Identification Number, EIN Online. And if you look above the name of this page, if you look right above, you will see the path that I took to get here. Home, file, business and self-employed, small business and self-employed, employer ID numbers, apply for an employer identification number, EIN online. Now you can get to this however you choose. I could have typed in EIN and clicked on search and it would have brought me to a similar page. So once I am on this page, then you want to read step 1 to determine your eligibility. Step 2, understand the online application. Step 3, submit your application. But I'm going to allow you to look at that a little later. I'm not going to read through all of that now. I will continue to move down just to see some more sections. Employer tax responsibility explained, responsibilities explained, Important, we cannot process your application online if the responsible party is an entity with an EIN previously obtained through the internet. Please use one of our other methods to apply. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause you. So if you already have obtained an EIN using this online process, then you cannot use it again for a second EIN. You have to use one of the other methods that I explained before. Purpose of an employer identification number. Employer identification numbers are issued for the purpose of tax administration and not intended for participation in any other activities. And then you can read the information about exempt organization information. Okay, so now I'm going to go back up to click on apply online now. Now, once I clicked on apply online now, it takes me to a portal that I will use to complete the application process. And here's the warning: this US government system is for authorized use only, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to click on OK, that I understand that. And then I'm going to click on begin application. So, what type of legal structure is applying for an EIN? So it's talking about your organization. What type of legal structure are you seeking to get an EIN for? Before applying for an EIN, you should have already determined what type of legal structure, business, or type of organization is being established. Choose the type you are applying for. If you don't see your type, select View Additional Types. So I know that I'm going to create a corporation, a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. So I'm going to click on Corporations. Continue. Now, you have chosen corporations. Yes. Read the descriptions below and choose the type for which you are applying. I know that I am applying for corporation, which is a corporation is a person or group of people who establish a legal entity by filing articles of incorporation with the state's Secretary of State, granting it certain legal powers, rights, privileges, and liabilities. That's what I want to do, because if you remember in the class right before this one, we walked through the steps to file your articles of incorporation with the Secretary of State's office. So that's why it's important to follow the steps into starting a 501c3 nonprofit organization in the way that I present them. This is a perfect example of how important it is to follow the steps in the order in which I present them. So I'm going to continue. And then please confirm your selection. The IRS wants to make absolutely sure that you want to create a corporation. So it tells you what a corporation is again and what it is not. It's not a sole proprietorship or a partnership. So let's keep going, continue. Now, why is the corporation requesting an EIN? Note, if you were incorporated outside of the United States or U.S. territories, you cannot apply for an EIN online. You have to call the toll-free number. Otherwise, choose one reason that best describes why you are applying for an EIN. And this is where I have a concern, because looking at these options, you would not think that any of these fit your needs. But actually, we are starting a new business. I wish they would add an option to say, started a new nonprofit. But in this case, the IRS is using business and organization or business and nonprofit interchangeably, which I don't like. But click on started a new business. And now I'm going to complete the information for a client. This is a real application, so I'm going to complete the information for my client. However, since it's private information, I am going to pause my screen. I'm going to actually pull up a new screen for you, just because, I don't want um, to share my client's information, which is understandable, I'm sure, live, and I don't want it to be a part of a permanent record. So I'm going to just show you, while I complete this information, I'm going to show you some pretty flowers, some pretty sunflowers. Sunflowers are my absolute favorite flower. So I'm going to let you look at that while I am completing my client's information. So just one moment as I do this, and thank you for your patience. Again, I like demonstrating. I don't have the mic in front of me, so I hope you can hear me. I like demonstrating as I do work. So I've completed the first page of the information. Now I need to complete a page that's called "Where is the corporation physically located?" Because you have to put the physical address. You cannot put a P.O. box in the address when you are applying for an EIN. You have to have a physical address, and it could be your home address, but it has to be a physical address. So that's what I'm entering now. I'm almost done. But this is what you would do when you are completing your packet or your application. You would enter your profile information, your name, and all of that, and then you would come to the next page to enter the mailing address. Okay, so I'm back. I'm going to now bring you back to where I was, and I'm going to unpause the screen. And now I am on a page that says, "Tell us about the corporation." Now, once again, I completed 2 pages prior to getting here. I completed a page that provided the name and address, and then I completed a page with more pertinent information about the client that's private. So now I'm going to continue on with this process. We're almost done. So now I'm entering the legal name of the corporation, which must match the articles of incorporation if you file them already. So again, that goes back to doing things in order. So my client is calling his organization the CMM Foundation Incorporated, and I could not add commas between a comma between foundation and incorporated because it's not a character that I can use. So it's the CMM Foundation Incorporated. And if he chose to do a trade name or doing business as name, then that I would put that here. But he hasn't, so I'm just going to keep going. And then you put in what state he plans to operate in, and I can let you see that. They're planning to operate in the state of North Carolina. The date corporation started or acquired, I'm just going to put September 2020 because that's when we filed the articles. And what is the closing month of the accounting year? This is very important. So I clicked on this so that you can see it for yourself. Closing month of accounting year. The closing month of the accounting year is the last month of your accounting year of tax year, or tax year, excuse me. An accounting or tax year is usually 12 consecutive months based on either a calendar year or a fiscal year. A calendar year is 12 consecutive months ending on December 31st. A fiscal year is either 12 consecutive months ending on the last day of any month other than December. So I wanted to highlight that because when I complete my clients' applications, I always choose December only because to me it's easier to remember. But this is important for another reason. Please listen. Please listen. Your closing month of accounting year determines when you are supposed to submit the appropriate Form 990 information return. Every year, 501c3 nonprofit organizations are required to submit the appropriate Form 990 information return. But the question becomes, when are they due? The closing month of the accounting year determines that. Your Form 990 information return is due 5 months and 15 days after your accounting year ends. So in this case, since my client's accounting year ends December 31st every year, then his Form 990 information return is due on the following May 15th, 5 months and 15 days. Okay? So that's how that works. So I'm going to continue. Tell us more about the corporation. So here's some more questions. So you will read these questions, and if they're pertinent to you, or if you are going to do some of these things, then you want to click on yes. So we're going to, for my client, I know all of the answers is no. All of the answers are no, excuse me. So I'm going to click on continue. Now, what does your business or organization, I appreciate they put our organization, do? Well, my client is going to do something unique. So you see all of the options here. Now let me rush through that. Choose one category that best describes your business or organization. Click the underlying links for additional examples of each category. So you will read each of these categories to determine whether or not your nonprofit fits within one of those. And if not, click on other, and my client is going to do something different. So it's, again, you have chosen other. So the IRS is asking you to choose one of the following that best describes your primary business activity. And so his is going to be other again. And I'm going to type in community enhancement services because he has a broad approach to his foundation. So now I'm going to click on continue. Let me pause my screen just one moment because I want to make sure his information doesn't appear on the next page. No, it doesn't. Okay. So I'm going to, thank you for that. I just want to make sure. Now, this is where you determine how you would like to receive your EIN confirmation letter. You have 2 options for receiving your letter. Please choose one below. I always choose receive the letter online because you receive it immediately. But if you want to receive it by mail for whatever reason, you click on that. So I am going to pause my screen now because I know it's going to show the information. So I'm going to click continue. And when I click continue, what it did was it showed the name of the organization, where it's going to be located, the closing month of the accounting year, the physical mailing address, the name of the person responsible, the principal business activity, and all of the additional information that I selected. It's sort of like a summary to give you an opportunity to see the information that you've entered to make sure that you are satisfied with that information. So I'm satisfied with it. And at the very bottom of this page, you will see a submit button. So I'm going to click on that. And now I have my EIN. I have my EIN. So I'm going to resume sharing my screen so that you can see it for yourself. So now it says, congratulations, your EIN has been successfully assigned. And here is the EIN number that I have for my client. Here is the legal name of his foundation. And here is the EIN confirmation letter that I need. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on that confirmation letter and I'm going to save it. I'm going to save that letter and then I will send it to my client for his records. But I'm going to stop the class here because, of course, once I print the letter, you're going to see his identifying information and I can't do that. So I'm going to go back now to the PowerPoint presentation just momentarily. And thank you again for your patience. I really appreciate it. I hope this information has been valuable for you as I move back to the PowerPoint presentation and resume sharing the screen. So we're back to the PowerPoint presentation. And I just want to share a little bit about myself before I let you go. Again, I'm Susan Woods. I started a 501c3 nonprofit organization in 2006 officially. I actually started running it in 2003, but I had to incorporate it as a 501c3 in order to attract tax deductible donations. I offered two programs underneath that umbrella, and the name of my organization, by the way, is Comprehensive Community Based Solutions Incorporated. I offered two programs over a 10-year period. I hadn't offered any program since 2013. I do keep it active though, just in case I would like to add a program later on. I earned three nonprofit management certificates, one from Duke University, one from Wake Forest University, and one from Winthrop University. I'm also a three-time graduate of Winthrop University in Rock Hill, South Carolina. I earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration, a Master of Arts in Teaching, Business Education, and a Master of Business Administration degree. I teach in-person classes when we could. I would teach in-person classes on the first and third Saturdays of the month. And I also offer online classes. One of my popular classes is the online self-paced grant writing masterclass. I complete the Form 1023 application for clients across the country. So if you don't want to go through all of the steps that I've taught you thus far, steps 1 through 13, I complete those steps for my clients. You don't have to worry about it. So for example, as I just did today, I completed the process to acquire an EIN for one of my clients. You can visit my website at www.trustsusanwoods.com to learn more about the services that I provide. Thank you so much for participating in the Starting Nonprofits tutorial. You are learning the 20 steps to starting a 501c3 nonprofit organization. My name is Susan Woods, Susan Woods Nonprofit Solutions. My telephone number is 704-968-2769. And my website is trustsusanwoods.com. Again, if you do not want to go through this process and you would rather have me do it for you, I would be honored. You can go to my website, click on the reserve consultation link, and reserve a phone consultation so that we can talk about your nonprofit vision. I'm Susan Woods. Thank you so much for your time and have a great day.